The Long Road Home Part 2, The Price of Freedom. Days bled into weeks, each one no different than the last, yet something had begun to shift within Jacob. Working in the endless fields, under the ever-watchful eyes of the guards, a new determination simmered beneath his exhaustion. He was tired of hiding, tired of sneaking past checkpoints, of ducking into the shadows at the slightest threat. And so a plan began to take shape. Jacob spent his days gathering information as he toiled in the fields, listening to hushed whispers from the other workers and watching the guards' movements carefully. Each night, once safely hidden in his caravan, he sketched a map in his mind, a way out. He knew of a small break in the wire fence behind the western fields. Beyond it lay thick woods, dense enough to hide in if he could only reach them. The plan took root, and with each passing day, his resolve grew stronger. This life had become a prison, one he was determined to escape. Finally, a night arrived when the clouds gathered thickly in the sky, blanketing the stars and covering the ground in deep shadows. He knew it was now or never. Steeling himself, he packed only the essentials: water, scraps of food, a worn map, and the small hidden pocket knife he'd managed to keep from the guards. Jacob waited for the shift change, just as he'd observed. He timed his movements with their footsteps, holding his breath with each careful step closer to the fence. The darkness cloaked him, but every tiny sound felt amplified in the still night. His heart beat loudly in his chest as he ducked and crawled toward freedom. But just as he reached the broken fence, a beam of light shot across the field. Jacob froze, hoping he was out of sight. He moved inch by inch, feeling his way along the fence line, edging toward the gap. He was almost there, so close he could smell the damp earth beyond the fence. One last push, and he'd be free. A shout rang out, harsh and sharp, piercing the silence. Jacob's heart sank. His escape had been noticed. Without thinking, he bolted. He scrambled through the fence, feeling metal tear at his shirt and skin, but he pushed forward, racing into the cover of the trees. Branches tore at him, slashing his arms and legs as he stumbled blindly into the woods. He didn't dare look back. He knew they were close behind him, but he could hear the barking of dogs and the harsh snapping of twigs as the guards gave chase. Jacob ran until his lungs burned, until his legs felt like they would give out, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. But soon exhaustion overtook him. He stumbled and fell, his hands clawing at the ground as he fought to rise. But his strength was gone, wasted from days in the fields, and his vision blurred as he looked around at the endless shadowy trees. The guards caught up to him moments later, their flashlights harsh and blinding. He lay still, his body spent, knowing the escape had failed. Rough hands grabbed him, pulling him to his feet, but he barely felt their grip. The fight was gone, and all that remained was the crushing weight of defeat. As they dragged him back, Jacob's mind flickered with fleeting images. The caravan, the fields, the dusty road home. He knew he'd be forced back into the same life, the same endless days, but something had changed. They might break his body, but they couldn't touch his spirit, not truly. He'd tried once, and though he'd fallen short, he knew the fire within him hadn't been extinguished. And maybe, just maybe, he'd find the strength to try again someday.